reports. Pat here needs to get going, so go ahead and have him make his report. Right after that, we'll give it back to Sean and go CJ. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kyle.
Thank you, Speaker, Secretary, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Vice Secretary, members of the body. I got a quick report on enrollment. Just pretty brief here because under the reorganization of the committee's enrollment fell under Health and Human, so I kind of followed my committee also, and we've kind of put it on the back burner right now, but we're still working on the ordinance. I'd like to get that introduced, like we have some of the other stuff introduced in committee so we can have at least another the year. So we got too much to report on the room, but that's the ordinance that we've been working on. And I know we have a couple meetings that some of you attended, but I'd like to keep going and update it under Health and Human on that. So other than that, I don't want much to report on the room.
Okay, and for your information, Eric gave some health issue reports too the other day. So on veteran affairs, I'm sure Sean's going to brief us on that too, since that's in your committee also. So Sean probably has that in his back pocket there. So, any questions for the Senator Alden? Okay, with that, we'll go on to Vice Secretary Sean Backbone, former Senator of Greenville District.
Good afternoon, Speaker, Secretary. Through my Vice Secretary as oversight, I have Human Health and Human Services. I have the Veterans and Department of Public Safety, Homeland Security. I'll go through them. And when I'm done, I'll give you the report. And on March 3rd and 4th, we presented I'm going to go through the Health and Human Services first. We presented on Salvia Wares Complex at Native American Housing in Denver, Colorado. We talked about services being provided through Health and Human Services team involved. We lobbied for a VASH funding in Washington, D.C. The Crow Travel Health also provides medical assistance for families out of state operations, which requires the person with the procedure must be under 18 years old and an enrolled member of the Crow Tribe. Also needs to provide a written required assistance to provide about 10 families, medical travel, and about 18,000 from October 2013 to March 2014. Assisted with some septic tank cleaning due to poverty amongst the Crow Tribe. The requirements are real simple: fill out a form, have a $10 money order. Once the tank is cleaned, assistance can be requested every 2 years. 11 families have been assisted. Been in charge of home care. Diabetes prevention and diabetes outreach workers are in charge of going through the checklist during home visits, making sure the follow-ups happens. These visits are bi-weekly. There are currently 38 home care aides on the program. Going to the Veterans Affairs Department, the Salvia Wares Department, the building construction will be taking place in the fall of 2014 and completion schedule will take place in July 2015. There's a cemetery that's been going to be put by there, the Salvia Veteran Cemetery. Bids are taken at this time. And the Medal of Honor coins will be for the Crow Talkers is December 2014. They'll be all completed. And there was 150 Vietnam veterans were honored with a plaque and a jacket during the Crow Native Days. That went really well. Going to the Department of Public Safety, the programs are disaster, emergency services, structured fire, search and rescue, public health, emergency, preparedness, highway safety, SOAR, which means safe on all roads, SORNA, sexual offenders registration, tribal police officers, fishing, game, and animal control. All programs are under the umbrella of Homeland Security, which is called Crowland Security, and the safety of the general public. All the programs are part of the TERP team, Tribal Emergency Response Team. We work with IHS, law enforcement, road department, abandoned mine lands. Since 2014 of April to present, we had 3 structure fires, 1 trash can fire, 4 vehicle fires. There was 3 gas breaks, 1 vehicle wreck, 4 missing persons, flooding to the Crow reservation. There was some evacuation, 2 crowd control events, and some different scenarios. There was numerous calls for livestock and dogs. That's kind of like touching here and there on my oversight. Bill Snell is working on the Boys and Girls Club. We're in the final stage of the 501c3, which will be coming to legislation, I believe, this fall. So we can get that money going, so we can set up a Boys and Girls Club. I think the program that I wonder, the committee, will be education. Okay, health and human services, really good. The other one was, there was a program that wanted to work with us for the Crow tribe, and it's for disabilities. They just came the other day too, and they want to help us out with some funding, and we'll get with you on that. Other than that, with the rest area, we're gonna have a community meeting on Monday. TJ?
9.
Monday night?
Monday night.
Oh, 9?
9 o'clock.
Oh, Monday at 9.
Yeah.
All right, Monday at 9 a.m. We'll update you on that. That's coming really well. We're in the last stages of everything. I think we just need that MOU, and we wanted to bring them here because I wanted to meet you all. So the questions that you asked, so there's nothing left on the table. I wanted for you guys to be transparent with it, because that's one of the, on Indian reservations, there really no rest areas, and this is a great opportunity for the Crow tribe to have a rest area. And if everything goes well here and everything's passed, I think we'll be having groundbreaking pretty soon. So you're right on this side of us. I think it's 10 acres, so it's going to be pretty good for us infrastructure-wise. So when Monday comes, we'll get them here and you can ask the questions then. There we have. But at this time, do you have any questions? If not, I ask some questions for you. See you.
Okay, floor is Brandon.
On the Boys and Girls Club, are we gonna establish one for each district, or is it just gonna be like for
The 501c3 would, once we get it going, it'll be like the college, it'll be an arm from the tribe. Most Boys and Girls Clubs that I worked for was in Ashland. I was the unit director about 15 years ago. And it's a 501c3, it's a long arm from the tribe. They'll have their own board of directors, and we'll have a main club, and it'll branch off to the different districts. But the funding ain't coming, because as you all know, when I was a legislature, you look into that, and the funding goes into the general fund, and the Boys and Girls Club of America don't do that. They want a nonprofit status, so when it's have its own board of directors, have its own policy, then it'll keep going like the college. So politics doesn't have a play in it. And then I think we'll have a great Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. Answer your question? Question over here.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, members of the body. I just wanted to make a clarification. The Boys and Girls Club. See, the corporation codes that we passed make it all possible. Because there's one word in there that says instrumentality. It's an instrumentality and entity of the Work on governance, that's what ours is. Because you gotta build a structure. Structure is the leadership structure. You can do your own Boys and Girls Club. Fire, we can do that also. Ours, we can do it a couple ways with instrumentality with high school Terry. Tom is all about, or we can use the many arrows, we can use that direction. Go for our instrumentality. Then we can apply for grants, that will support and self-sustaining. And so that's the beauty of the corporation code, how we're able to do that. So previous to that, we have the corporation code. The bigger grants will have to fund that, find the funds to fund that. Now we can, each district can do that. You know? That's the instrumentality.
Thank you.
CJ, you have a question? Yeah, I just wanted to, for the, just a reminder for the body here, there was a question, why did the first plan changed? Because of the rest area was supposed to be in the middle, but there's 3 sites that were given. So which one would be the more feasible and easier access and easier to get to, and the site that was chosen was the one that was, so that would be a rest area there for the trucks coming off the I-90 and 212, would be right there. So that's just an explanation of why it's going to be right there. And, some of the other areas that were nominated for a site where there's going to be a lot of work put into it. So just to expedite the process, this site here would be less work. Be a lot of those work, but they can build a site there. That's something I wanted to kind of expound on the report there. And if there was a question there about the 3 sites, because I know that there was a question there, and people were wondering why.
You want to know why? Because it rolls downhill. Yeah.
We have a question over here, Senator Bergeron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body, Rigo and Lorenzo. Vice Secretary, question, Senator Travis took the economy up on that issue and how we're doing and veterans update as a mobility team cemetery. As a that coming on to the construction day start
Next week, if you want a committee meeting, we can do that, and then we can address all those, so you know, so we be transparent. Well, the funding, the process of it is, everything is intact. We're looking at in August for the construction and infrastructure. Electricity and infrastructure for the site. And there was some infrastructure design there. There was some questions there that we had to do ourselves, and Paul did it. So he's looking at August, the same time of the cemetery. So them 2 construction sites will be at the same time. So when that time comes in, Carl Littlelaw is taking bids. The main contractor is already wanted. So the subcontractor, we want all Indian contractors. So the main contractor is wanted, so your subcontractor, the main contractor will cover that. We want all Indian contractors on that site.
Okay, voting is Joe.
So, Secretary Backo, CJ said this site 3 2005, Commander 812, right now, done so 그 사이트에 치시고 그것만 추락서 세고 문제 페네이터스 이거를 깨치다 이거야 어떻게 하나의 문제제고
Thank you. And, the first site was on the other side of the hill, on the right side. There was a site down below by the casino. There was a site on the back, in front of the grandstands to the left. Those were the sites. And the first original site was by Sage Motel, which is the floodplain, so they built a lot of that. And the reason why it's not by IHS is because of the sound, the noise of the semis. There's a buffer there for sound for the IHS. So that was out. And then the other one was right in front of the old casino. That is a floodplain. Now it'll take an extra 2 years to study that. So when the survey went out, the number one spot was over there by Putz. But on Monday, when the engineers and the people that work on it get here, you can ask all the questions you want. And I believe they'll let you know. But that's the site, and we want to move on now. Any more questions?
Okay, hold on, Chuck. See you next week for the committee meetings then.
All right, committee meetings, we'll
Yeah.
get that going with Pat.
And we do have a presentation Monday afternoon with, let's see, the
Navajo one.
Navajo One is the company that builds those bricks with a lot of the fly ash that's coming out of the power plant.
That'll be something good to take a look at, because I believe the information that I talked with them was that they can build a structure for $11,000. With that fly ash, it's really good stuff. So I just wanted to bring them, so I wanted to get to the senator, so with the communities and with your constituents, they're very good structures. At this time, we have fly ash and art that they always talk about by the dumps, and we can use that into blocks. So it's kind of interesting, their video, their presentation. I don't want to take none of their thunder, so be here Monday. 9.
Nine, correct, that one you coordinated with Jackie. That one.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
oh,
Yeah.
infrastructure and natural resources will report, we'll receive from CJ here. Okay, that's progress of.
Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members, I'll make mine brief. A lot of you guys are involved with the public hearings. Just to kind of expound on the process of why it went forward the way it went forward. We did have, it was basically our first attempt towards Rule 20 public hearings. It won't be our last. It was a good learning curve for us for the public hearings process. When the motion was made on the floor, according to Rule 20, there's a 10-day period there prior to the meetings, to the hearing. And according to the rule, the legislature, in full body in session, is supposed to conduct that meeting, or the committee that oversees the issue. So at the time, when the 10-day rule was waived, and it was basically indicated at the time that the body wasn't going to take care of that hearing, when the public was here, we kind of spouted out amongst ourselves as the committee chair, Speaker of the House, and Secretary, and with our legal counsel, to look at how Rule 20 is spelled out, and because of the body waived it at the time, then it had to go to the subcommittee. Well, committee, it says subcommittee in the rules, but it's committee. And so the infrastructure committee would have handled that. So my suggestion at the time was, rather than have, because I know the intent of the rule, when the motion was made, or the intent of the motion when the rule was referred to, was that we wanted several hearings. One with the urban Indians, Crows, and then 6 districts. So with that in mind, I talked to the speaker about this, legal counsel, and what we come up with is that, okay, if it has to fall back on the committee, then the committee members of the districts should handle the meeting in their respective districts and get testimony, and then move forward with whatever recommendations from the testimony, whether it be written or whether it be vocal. I didn't realize it, but at the time, I thought that Little Bighorn College was going to record all of the meetings. From what I understand, they only recorded the one that I put together at one time. I got a video of it. We got a sign-in sheet, so we do have an archive of this. We'll have a copy of this here at the office. So it'll be the first time of history making, because it's the water code. It'll be the first meeting, and what I thought they were involved in all districts to make a recording of all of the meetings. But just to give you a heads up on that, that was the process we went with. So I think next time when we do we did bring it out today in the housing ordinance meeting. We were going to go to public hearings, possibly public hearings, get testimony. But we did have meetings in all the districts, and language was suggested. There was issues on wastewater, which was good. There was some good topics there. There's some of the language there, some of the practical stuff that's actually going on out there wasn't recognized in some of the language. So I've asked that, I guess we kind of threw it back and forth, Jay and I, and Speaker clarified it to the legal counsel that it's still in the committee's authority, to where I thought with Clay Gregory to have him deal with this legal counsel here anymore, to incorporate language and to work correctly with Jay. I don't know if that ever happened, but whatever notes that we had, we were going to incorporate it and then bring it to the committee, so that way we can bring it back before we final vote on the water code. And the reference that was made to the public was that we were going to bring it to the July quarterly session for passage. And so upon receiving testimony, that was still in the process of coming back to the floor. So with that being said, I wanted to bring that out. The other thing is with natural resources, we've been dealing with issues concerning the land, working with the Solomon Cattle Company, and designating properties and tracts and farm ground. There is a request here for an action resolution that's going to be coming to the floor. It's new business. We haven't heard it in committee yet, and so possibly Tuesday at 9 o'clock, we're having this meeting. Hopefully we can get our legal counsel to, on both sides, executive and legislative, to incorporate this language so we can move through this water code to bring a recommendation to the floor, so that way we can hear the issues concerning the tracts of land for the Solomon Cattle Company. I didn't want to get too far into that one. They did have a celebration at the time, and Senator Rose had represented the legislative branch there. I know it was a rainy day. There was only one legislature that went out there. It was Senator Rose of the prior district. So, the other thing I wanted to bring out was, and I know Senator Rosehead was there, Secretary Nonafraid, myself, and just from the legislative branch, us two, and executive secretary and then legal counsel Al Amador was in attendance. I wanted to make a report real quick about the coordination meeting we had between the coal owner, producer, transporter, and exporter. We had all the big shots in one room. And it's not the last meeting that we have. We talked about having another meeting here soon in October. Representatives from this branch as well as the executive were there. Gal Labrador was there. Aiken Don Congress, he was in attendance. There was Colin Marshall and Todd Myers, Todd O'Hare from Cloud Peak. And then we had individuals from Burlington Northern, their legal counsel, as well as one of their directors. He was in attendance. And we had our Steve Saline and Bob Waters from SSA Marine were in attendance. So we had everybody in one room, and the coordination between the entities at that time was to move forward in unison, and everyone will be able to understand where we're all at. So then that way, one person doesn't, duplicate our effort that has already been done over here. So we've all got together and we kind of gave each other duties of what needs to get done. And with our side, we're already doing that, and we're working closely with other fossil fuel tribes and other tribes that want to support the grow. Because right now, we're dealing with an issue with Northwest tribes, and in respect of their treaty rights, the UNA, a custom and a usual and a custom fishing right, going forward, looking at their, just trying to respect their treaties as well as trying to utilize what resources we have with our coal, with the export market, with just our coal development in general. We all know that 60% of our revenue comes from coal, and right now coal is getting a black eye in the market right now. And the United States hosts the largest coal deposit in the world, and we're trying to go cold turkey, and it's kind of tough, especially with chlorination. That's our resource, everybody knows that, and so with this effort moving forward, we do have some heavy hitters on our side that with our intent and our indication to them that we want to respect the other tribes, the Northwest tribes, going forward, not trying to railroad no one. We're trying to be respectful that the tribe, ourselves, we're going to be moving forward, reaching out to these tribes and not have them do it because they just don't understand. There's barriers there that they can't get past, that the tribe can get past. Just like sitting at AT&I or NCAI. The only ones that can sit at the table are elected. So that's why when Papa Vincent was there, myself and Yuki was there, we're the only ones that have to sit at the table. Even the attorneys, they have to sit in the back. So that's a respect that they carry forward, that as a member of the affiliated tribes of the Northwest Indians, we're members in good standing, as well as the National Congress of American Indians, we're members of in good standing, that we have that authority, we have that right and privilege. So we have barriers there that they can't get around, that we as a tribe, respecting their treaty rights and them in turn respecting ours, we can make those connections and those relationships. So then that way we can establish some kind of effort to try to expound on some of the resources that we do have here. And Cloud Peak is looking at the export market. And I know Westmoreland is looking at export market as well. If it does come, and it does get to the point where these export terminals will get built, the coal is going to be leaving the United States. Because right now, the way Obama administration is setting it up, they're closing down and phasing out all the power plants. They're closing down and phasing out all the coal-fired power plants and anything that deals with coal and fossil fuels. They're eliminating it. And Obama made a statement. President Obama made a statement that by 2014, that a good majority of the market will be electrical cars. How he's going to plug those in and get electricity, I don't know how he's going to do it without having coal to be in a player in the game. So we're keeping our ear to the ground. I know that, going back to the issue with the Osage Cattle Company, those lands, there is, for looking at this CTL, we do have lands there that are going to be set aside in different areas and different times for the Camelina program that we do have for the biomass, the coal biomass liquids. And so that will be addressed at the committee meeting. I know that that's an area that we don't want to lose because with Camelina that we get $800 to $1,000 a barrel for specialty fluids. So, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members, I'll conclude my report, and I apologize for not having anything written, but that would conclude my report, and at this time, I just want to say hello.
Thank you, CJ. Okay, question from Senator Lozada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. I just want to concur with the report of Senator Stewart, Denver. And I went to the meeting that afternoon, about 1 o'clock, and like you said, when I heard was 6 months, it was a strategy session. BNSF, I believe it was the president, or was that CEO that was there?
Yeah, legal counsel.
Yeah, and then they're actually their lobbyist in the state of Washington was there also from BNSF. But they already, one thing that, I remember their president was saying he wasn't too worried about the coal rail transporting the coal over there because he said that's really under the radar for that one. But it was oil.
Yeah.
That was their main concern because oil, if it ever crashes, oil would spill into the Columbia River or the rivers, and it's flammable. And one of the coal does that. It's already in their waters. There isn't really any harm doing, because they made it was a Colin Marshall, I guess the president of Columbia Energy. How you purify your water system right now is you use coal filters to purify that water. So it doesn't do any harm to the fish or anything like that. But there's an EIS that they're working on, which was supposed to take 6 months or 3 months, but it's actually gone 2 years now. The environmental impact statement, EIS, that was another thing that they're still pending. And then also who, for each Oregon, the state of Oregon and Washington and Idaho, as well as the Montana, they were talking about the governors, what they feel about the coal export, as well as the congressmen and the senators, where they politically stand, and some of them are not saying anything, meaning that they're just staying out of it right now, and they're just letting the process, they're just letting the regulations as is already is law, they're letting them follow that. So they're kind of stepping aside. So that was the political feeling in each state. They talked about that. So that's what the strategy. The reason why I'm saying this and sharing this with you is that we're sitting there we're at the table, sitting there at the table with these big companies. Coal, Obama is trying to get rid of coal. But he doesn't have an answer. The environmentalists don't have an answer. See, coal is the cheapest way to make electricity. They already done this in Germany. They already tried to do the green energy. But that didn't work because that green energy, to build one and to maintain them is very high in cost. The feasibility study is very high. You got to put a lot of money into it. And they talked about the wind energy. Wind energy, you have to, the material itself costs a lot of money. The startup is a lot of money. You got to put a lot of money on, but it's the maintenance that costs a lot of money as well too. You know, it's doable, but those two things. So right now, Germany, they're going back to coal. They already tried it, and that was another thing that they talked about. But in the long run, the way I see it, this is my personal opinion, think about it. These coal industry has to admit they have a lot of influence. They have a lot of influence in Washington. But all we are doing right now, the way things are in Washington, I'm talking about the political atmosphere in D.C. is that they're waiting for Obama's term to end. And hopefully they say a Republican president will sit down because Obama is anti-energy. But he's looking at the green energy is what he's doing. So, you know, you've got to think about a lot of that. And so it's political season, and not only that, BNSF has already put in about 23 million, right? $23 million or something like that. 27 million into the rail lines, so that these trains, the ones that are transporting the coal and the ones that are coming back to get more coal, that they can pass each other, build more of the rail lines wider. And one of the problems that they see is in these metropolitan cities, as they're going through, like Billings, for example, sometimes when you got to cross South Side on 27th Street to the north side, you have to wait. Those are the kind of problems that they're trying to, putting their money into, so that problem is eliminated. And then, you know, the SSA Marine, you know, what was it? It's a $7 billion, $7.3 billion project every year. But it costs $700 million to do that port itself. And they already put a lot of money into it, and that would start up probably in 2018, 2019 last year. And then our coal is supposed to be developed by 2018, 2019, so if that works, you know, then we can start exporting, you know, the coal. And then right now, remember they're not moving on the coal liquids right now because, you know, because of Obama, because of the environmentalists, they're not even moving on that, so. You could go, but it's a strategy session, and so they're gonna meet back in October, November, and they're gonna go from there.
Thank you. And Florida, this is CJ.
One other thing is, that I forgot to mention, you know, bringing solutions to the table, we did speak with Burlington Northern. They do have 3 routes and there's a route that bypasses the Columbia River, and that's what the Northwest tribes are worried about. And this one route has to kind of go through the mountains. It goes through carved out tunnels in the mountains. And so this fella by the name of is Andrew Johnson. And Andrew Johnson, he's the vice president of state government affairs. And so his problem is he has to satisfy a big customer for Burlington Northern. The big customer that he has is Boeing. Boeing, they make airplanes. You probably see all these fuselages that go by. And in Missoula, they wrecked, there's a train derailed, and they're probably seen in the paper, but there's 3 fuselages already wrecked there. The thing is that we talked with him about setting up something with Boeing. Because Boeing will get the tax breaks. At the Crow Tribe, we here, we have the land base. We can set up shop here. We can build on fuselages for these airplanes, train our people to do that, and then Boeing will get the tax breaks. At the same time, on the flip side, they would have to carve out those tunnels even higher, so that way those fuselages can make it through. That's what they're worried about. They can go through that route, and it'll eliminate having to go by the Columbia River. And if they do that, then they'll be able to get those oil tankers through too, with ease. And so, by proposing this to Boeing, Boeing might be able to invest in some of that too as well. So he thought, that was something on the sidebar. That was something that he thought would be great to try to propose to Boeing. And so I asked him. I said, because at the time I know there was myself and Sean went to a meeting with an ABC, their economic development conference, and Boeing was there. They had an Indian desk. It's like Walmart, they have an Indian desk, and then this guy here, he was sitting there, and he was talking, he was on the panel, and he said that they're looking at tribes because of their human resource. That if they need 300 people, they can probably pick them up 100 people, stuff like that. So I always remember that. I told him about this, that Navajos we're trying to do this, but over here, it would make sense because of this issue with fuselages. And it'd be a tax break for Burlington Northern and Boeing. And it'll be jobs and revenue to us. And at the same time, it'll be revenue for our coal. And it'll eliminate the scare for the Northwest tribes. Because right now, with the passage of the resolution that they presented on our behalf to NCAI for the Crow Tribe to be the pilot program for the coal liquids throughout the nation, it indicated to everybody that they're not against coal. So if they're not against coal, then what's going on? What's the big issue? And that's the Columbia River. They want to get away from that. So this new route that they're looking at, if they have to carve out those mountains even more, it's a little bit steeper, but they can make it, they say. So this is something that they're looking at. And we're still going to have more meetings with Sandy Johnson. And this will benefit every district for the jobs, for the people. And right now, 4 districts are affected right here. It's the Viola, Lashgrass, Reno, and Black Lodge. We hold one of the main routes for Burlington Northern to the west. So we do have some stake in this. We have some stake. So and that's what they indicated to us as well. So we are at the table. We are at the table with the big shots, and they're listening. They're taking suggestions, and everybody is going to be continuing to work together. And hopefully, one other thing too is that SSA Marine did give us another invite, and we have to look at a date to set aside for a visit to the site, the proposed site for the export. So that's going to be something that that's going to be coming up, and at that time I'll probably be looking at trying to set up some kind of a tour to look at some of these sites for, on the rail line as well, Burlington Northern. So that's coming up. I'll just give you that report. There's a lot there, a lot happened, and we will continue to update the body.
Thank you. One of the other things in regards to conversation with Duke and CJ was Chairman gives us an Duke and I had an update last week, and That was one of the other issues with that whole liquid certificate. There's another company that wants to come in now. Instead of using the Excelergy system, there's another company that wants to come in. Trying to negotiate with the executive right now, trying to get in on that business. But, you know, we just will talk about that more in committee at a later time. So anyway, that's just a brief update on that. This time we'll make a couple of announcements, and then we'll call for recess. Excuse me, go ahead, Carlson.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to give an update on that litigation. The court won't hear, make it brief.
Okay, go ahead, that's it.
Give you an update on the litigation. We didn't have a quorum of 5 last Thursday. But, you know, Gail and Melissa was here, as well as Jay and myself, Lee Fair came, and then also Vincent and Senator Boyd. We were all here for this litigation. Oh, and Angel was here too. And at that time, Jay proposed a definition which was going to be added. Before I came today, Angel gave me a phone call, asked me if she should be here. And I said no, because she's going to charge us for coming to here and give us an update. But I said, at the next committee meeting, she can come and then give us the written document, but we need the executive branch to have it all written, the document. And what was said in the meeting, in addition to it, was the chairman really didn't want to hand over the real separation of powers, separation of our own handling of our money, especially the payroll part, because of the reasoning behind it with the federal taxes and the taxes. Doesn't want us to get into the same position or trouble that.
Excuse me, I think a lot of this is confidential. We're going to shut that off now.